It's been a long road, but we finally made it. The final canvas in this epic series I started 6 months ago with one simple idea: to take National Geographic magazines and use them as inspiration to create a brand new painting, which then jump-started an epic trilogy of paintings about this traveling cowboy that I poured my heart and soul into, challenging my own drawing and painting skills and storytelling abilities to lengths I've never gone before, pushing myself to grow into the artist that I want to be. After months of writing and planning a finale conclusion to the story we've been building, it's time to put paint to canvas and bring it home. Unfortunately, all the paint that I used for the first 2 canvases had dried up in the heat, so I had to mix some more from scratch. I used this stuff called Encore. It's recycled architecture building paint, taking about 60% recycled paint and adding 40% new stuff to create these eco-friendly artist paints. And also using some of my own old mural paints that I had in the studio. It can be a bit of a tedious process. Sometimes you gotta finesse until you get it just right. But it's so worth it to have all my colors available in big quantities. I love attacking a canvas with a fresh array of mixed paint ready to go. Painting so many murals led me to use this method for my canvas work. It's just my comfort zone and how I like to work. And after mixing a whole new round of paints, I was ready to go. If you followed along the journey thus far, you know by now how I start the pieces. I love blocking in the big shapes and background colors and then carving the elements from there. I had this drawing hanging up from the previous episode. Alright, sit down. You're about to get learnt. I'm going to show you how I built this whole thing. And figured it would be a good side-by-side to help me complete the painting as I worked. For the portrait, I gathered several different references of actors for facial feature reference, lighting reference, and picking and choosing certain elements to create my own face. Tried to make him look tough and rugged, like he's been through a journey. Handsome, but not beautiful. Dirty, but not a mess. Not too old, but young enough to go on this particular journey. Although cowboys did age a lot quicker from the harsh lifestyle. Once I had a good chunk of the portrait dialed in, I was feeling pretty good about it so far. It was interesting to see how such a subtle facial expression can make a big difference. We are so conditioned to look at faces that any small tweak can show a whole new emotion. I changed the mouth slightly to go from a more aggressive feel in the drawing to a more apprehensive and slightly flustered mouth expression on the canvas, which fits the story better. All right, yeah, I like this. Off to a good start already. I've been thinking, and I want to take this drawing from Professor Kiptoe here. I want to cut out some stencils so I can put that up here and get some things moving rather quickly here. So I'm going to go trace it on my window and then make some stencils. I was really feeling in the groove on this last canvas. I think after painting the other 2, I got a lot more comfortable in the studio doing indoor work. I talked to other artists in my circle and we all agree. A good balance of mural painting and indoor studio work is a healthy mix to keep your sanity and creativity flexed. Here's where the stencils come in handy. I was thanking myself for cutting these out earlier. Okay, let's see how we did here. Paint's already dry.
Nice.
Cool. Clean it up a bit, but that worked out quite nicely, I think. Don't know what accent that was. Thinking back now, this whole project has been a culmination of several other personal projects that I had rolling around in my notes and in my head. And even the impetus for the first canvas that started this whole thing with the National Geographic magazines, that had been stuck in my notes for about 2 years before I finally pulled the trigger and made that happen. And I'm glad that I did. I think it flowed out of me because I've been thinking about these certain themes and ideas for a while now. And combining them all into this project and story was a natural progression of my creativity and my work. And sometimes the timing of everything just seems to work out when it's supposed to. For the Mage character, I decided to try a simple transfer technique that would save me some time and hassle. Some white pastels and an overtrace of the drawing, and I was in like Flynn. I had to work with these teeny tiny brushes again, but I did get a lot more used to them after the last canvas. Just takes a lot of concentration and patience. I resorted to this brush, which practically had only one hair on it. And then, I actually started to really like using this tiny brush. The hands are so important to get right. They are so expressive and gestural, and we're so used to seeing how hands work that if they're wonky, it really stands out. If you're doing a more realistic style, taking that extra time to get the hands right just takes it over that extra notch. I had been painting for a few days already, and was focused and really liking how it was coming out. But time was still against me as I raced to get everything done in time to try and stay on track and on schedule so I could have some time to make some prints for the end of this video. The painting was moving along really well, but what I didn't expect was the movie section to become the behemoth that it became. You know, I wanted the finale to be elevated and have something immersive and extra with it, but man, really took on a life of its own. I hired 4 extra voice actors for my first time to help bring these characters to life, and spent a good chunk of time sending notes and directing the lines for how I wanted it to go, going back and forth with the actors to massage it into place. Oh shit. Yo, this sounds so sick. I was constantly tweaking the script to make it flow better and sound more natural, taking away certain things and adding others. It's all a huge learning curve. Man, making movies is really difficult. But honestly, this has been such a cool project, and I'm learning so much about movie making and storytelling and the whole craft of all that, which is so complex. But really having a blast and excited that it's coming together. Oh, yeah, baby! I was combining the canvas shots with additional animations and motion comics and live action to make an experimental conglomerate of all the stuff I like to do into one final explosive story. I'm no After Effects whiz. I kind of have like a basic understanding of the program, but I'm doing my best to make some pretty cool stuff here. So after several weeks of tireless work and effort, after all the animations, all the sound effects I put in place, and all the music to top it all off, my baby was finally ready to be released into the wild. I'm going to take you back into the studio as I add the final elements to the painting, while I give you a bit of a refresher of the story thus far. A lonely cowboy sets adrift across the barren desert with nothing but his trusty noble horse. After being abandoned by everyone, there was only one way to go: forward. He couldn't seem to remember why he was alone or how he got here. He hoped that this journey would set him down a meaningful path to renew himself and find a new life with purpose. Each morning, the goddess of time and light would push against the chains that held her down all night to lift the sun into the sky. As a new city peaks over the horizon, our cowboy gains a glimmer of hope, until a familiar gaze creeps over him, testing his gut and his will. The fear of the unknown slides its presence into the cowboy's unconscious, blurring the lines between his own reality and fantasy. As he continued his trek across the desert, his adventure was turning into a fight to sustain himself and stay grounded. Laying by a fire, he would gaze into the sky night after night, until one magical evening, as a magnificent hummingbird stretched its wings across the stars. He used this as a sign to help guide him further down his journey. He saw these birds everywhere now, like a reminder of why he started, only to get pushed down by rapid delusions and further cracking of his fragile mind. He was warned by townsfolk of a local haunted myth. Beware of the wolf. Each town seemed worse than the last, and his wandering spirit fell into a trap of temptation as the sirens of the southwest wrapped their elegant wisps of hair through his collapsing mind. His days turned into years, the wolf's presence sinking deeper
and deeper and deeper.
Thinking back and reaching for a change of motivation, he adopts the chains of the sun goddess as a symbol to keep him going every day, to try and find his new life before he loses what spirit he has left. We will join our cowboy as he concludes his journey in our final act. And with the final strokes in place, it's time. So please, sit back and enjoy the final painting in action. The cowboy's strength was getting tested by his seemingly never-ending journey. The time had slipped away, and his quest to begin a new life started to feel meaningless. Feeling dizzy and nauseous, he was trying to keep himself up on his horse to make it into town for a drink. As he slowly trudged his way back, he could start to recognize the people that would greet him every time he passed through. Each smile like a little boost of energy. Just at that moment, a hummingbird zipped across his eyes and circled around his head, startling the cowboy and almost knocking him off his horse. It buzzed back and forth as it fluttered right in front of him, the glint of its feathers glistening in the sun. He paused and stared, like it was trying to tell him something. It zipped past his head once more. He grabbed his reins and followed the bird, galloping across to the edge of town. The bird was found buzzing by a humble black tent, pulling nectar from the flowers below. The cowboy watched and stumbled off his horse as the bird disappeared into the black void between the tent folds. He looked around, told his horse he would be right back, and followed his curiosity into the dark tent.
Ah, the weary wanderer has returned.
Hello?
A mystic figure leans in past the darkness into the dim candlelight.
Do you know why I love hummingbirds? They remember every single nectar sight along their impressive journey south, flying with intention.
Why are you telling me this?
You are not a hummingbird.
A lizard scurries across the table as she grabs it with her hand, its severed tail wiggling in between her fingers.
You are like a lizard, falling apart at the first sign of fear.
She reaches and grabs his wrist, pulling him across the table as she traces his hand with a sharp crystal.
Listen to me. We've been through this before, young man.
The cowboy swallows as the mage peers into his bloodshot eyes.
The eclipse is tonight, and you are running out of time.
What happens at the eclipse?
You will have to make a choice. Continue down your current path, or break this cycle.
What does that mean?
He rips away his hand and storms out of the tent, whistling for his horse. He slings himself up, barely holding on, retreating back to his familiar campsite. The cowboy's sweat turns to chills as nightfall approaches, and the full moon glistens between the trees across the desert floor. He is shivering, shaking, and anxious. Trying to get warm, he lights a fire and in a fit of rage, he tosses every last bit of firewood he has, igniting into a lofty blaze. Dropping to his knees, he pulls out his pistol and stares at it in his trembling hand. But he notices the marks from the mage as they start to weep blood. His arm starts to throb as if it wasn't his own anymore. He looks up and gazes at the moon. Its pure white borders, bleeding deep red. He quickly runs to attach his chain to the horse and wraps himself tightly around a tree.
No more. I'm here to stay. Whatever happens.
The blood moon eclipse gets deeper and richer. The wolf is ripped from his spirit, clawing out like a haunted soul escaping prison. The beast materializes as it gathers to its feet, its burning red eyes pierced through the embers floating across the air. The horse finally lets go as the cowboy collapses on all fours.
Finally. Trapped inside your spineless body, clawing my way out of this sheepskin, wandering through life.
What is this?
Stuck in a desolate loop that you'll never wake up from.
No.
And now, here I am. Again.
Again?
3 years since our last blood moon. And what have you got to show for it?
3 years?
You don't even remember.
3 years?
Hey, you okay? You don't look too good, partner. Oh, Jesus. Holy shit, what is that? Run! It's too late, come on! Run! Leave him! We gotta go! We can't save him! Get the cattle! Get the cattle!
You stranded me. Left me with nothing.
You're so tempted to look for some meaning that you drown yourself in distraction to cope with what you really are.
Don't you start.
I can give you purpose. I can show you what you're afraid to see.
I don't need you. I'll make my own way.
And where has that gotten you? A man with all the appetite, but no teeth to bite.
Okay. You've had your fill. Maybe you're right. But I won't let you be a part of me any longer.
Fine. I'll save us the trouble. And devour you myself.
I got you now. I know you're in my blood, and I can't change what's behind me. But I won't be scared of what's in front of me. I will see this day.
The only thing in front of you is me, and I will always claw my way back.
I could really use you right now.
I hear you, but the night is still young. I'm forbidden to lift my light just yet. Each dawn, I have been there to nourish you for a moment just like this. It's up to you this time. Be the man that I see every morning.
this time, you were in there, chipping away, until your time came. Nah. This is my time.
The wolf ignites and howls in agony, slowly dematerializing back into a blood mist, reuniting with the cowboy as it seeps back into his body. He watches as the blood moon fades away as quick as his consciousness and collapses onto the desert floor. The morning chirps and the lick from his horse awaken him from the dirt. A smoldering patch of coals and an ache in his bones are all that remain of his fateful night. But to his surprise, his memory lies intact. He lifts himself up and takes a long breath as the sunrise kisses his face.
Whoa, buddy. It's me. I know. Thank you. You know, I thought you were all I had. Well, another 3 years, huh? Let's make it count.
The cowboy drifts into the sun, followed by his shadow, but guided by the light. To start again, for there may be no end, only a forever beginning.
Oh man, we made it. The journey is complete. And I had such a blast. This was such a challenging, rewarding project, and I'm really proud of myself for pulling through and making this whole thing happen. And look what we got. Now you guys can take home the journey with you. Do it all over again, or celebrate it, or inject your own stories into the theme here and see what you can come up with. There's tons of symbolism in here for you guys to pick apart and match and create your own journeys along the way too. I couldn't be more happy with this, and really excited for you guys to pick this up if you're interested. Printed by the folks over at Static Medium, one of the best print shops in Los Angeles, with a beautiful matte finish using high quality premium G-Clay inks. But if that's too much for you, then maybe you just need some motivation and have the sun goddess shining some good fortunes down on you. Or maybe you're in the thick of it and ready to explore and looking to find that something that gives you that spark. Or maybe you need that reminder to fight off your inner demons and work past those personal struggles and come out on top. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. If you're feeling the whole jam, get the big bad boy right here. But you know what? I didn't stop there, because I spent the last 2 days designing and painting this badass t-shirt design, combining all 3 paintings into one super epic design. And I really love the challenge of reinterpreting my paintings into screen printing designs and having that kind of flat color challenge. And I used that as to build a new technique for myself to create these line work and pen and ink style designs with paints and the layers and everything. It's really, really cool, and I had a blast making it. If you get in real close here, you can see all this intricate detail and take the coolest elements from each painting and create one new painting, basically. And you can see here on the bottom, we start with our cowboy here. Then we go up and around and go on the whole journey, woo, and then come back out, changed man. It's gonna be 8 colors on a black t-shirt. It's gonna look super slick. So all of this is available right now on my website, Kiptoe.com, for 2 weeks only, starting today. It's a limited run, so that means that all the prints that are sold in that 2 weeks, that will be the print edition size, and then never sold again. That's how I keep it limited, that's how I keep it rare, that's how I keep the quality. I'm gonna be signing and numbering each one by hand and shipping them all out, so grab them while it's hot, and help me celebrate this journey and bring the inspiration back to you guys. So it's been quite a ride. I hope you enjoyed the movie, and man, let's keep it going. And thank you, for real, for joining me on this trip. I can't wait to do it again. Grab your prints, and I'll see you on the next one. Yeehaw!